For our podcast disclaimer, please visit the episode description. Thanks so much for listening to What the Heck is Happening in HR. Today, we're going to talk about conflict at work. Conflict happens at work. Let's talk about some of the reasons. I think one of the biggest reasons we have conflict is because we don't have a relationship. Now, that doesn't mean we're best friends and they're at our Thanksgiving table, but it does mean that we have some sort of relationship to be able to speak with them to us, about what is causing the conflict. So sometimes the conflict's just about a competition. Boss's attention, they want time, they want money, they need materials, they want the promotion. It's a competition for resources. People's egos, that's their interest, their hidden agenda, their ego. It really isn't about the mission of the business. And sometimes it's just about unclear responsibilities, and that's something that managers can clear up for employees. Who is responsible for what? Don't leave a meeting without saying who's going to do what by when. So how do we handle conflict once it's come up? What do we do about it? It's really common. And when we don't handle the resolution of that conflict, it creates just this ripple effect, hindering team dynamics, hindering productivity, just creates drama. Someone described it once to me about squeezing Jell-O. You think you got a handle on it, and it comes out in all sorts of places between your fingers. So that's what happens with conflict. So let me give you some tips for handling conflict. If you think there's an issue, there is. Raise the issue early. My granny used to say, if you're asking yourself the question, you already know the answer. So if you are feeling like something's off here, I'm not sure what's going on, then raise it. And that's whether you are picking up on that from another coworker or your employee, or if you're feeling it yourself going, well, what's stopping me? Why don't I want to go to this meeting? What's going on with me? What's hampering my ability to be productive in this? Manage your emotions. Define the issue, because whatever the issue is can be like the third party that you're talking about. The issue is that you got money, you got budget from our boss, and you knew I was going to go in and ask for that. And instead, you went first because I shared with you that I needed it for my project. And now I don't have it. That's the issue. I don't understand why you broke the confidence, or why you thought my job or my work or my project wasn't as important as yours. At least you could have said, hey, I know she's going to be bringing in a project to you too. I want you to know about mine. And then let our boss choose. But instead, you didn't. You knew my meeting was coming after yours, and you didn't even indicate it. So I'm really hurt by it. You can share what the emotion is, but you don't need to be screaming. You don't need to be using bad language. You don't need to be pouting. You don't need to use a lot of words that are accusatory. Let them know how you feel. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. I thought we were good coworkers. I'm trying to understand why you did that. And then listen to them. Why did they do it? Did they say, I got busted down last year. I wasn't going to miss that opportunity this year. Okay, well, all you do is tell me. But I still think my job, my project needs to have more money put to it. I need more resources. I need more people. And now I don't have that opportunity. And you can say that you're listening by several things. You can say, I understand how that feels. Use some of those I words. I understand how that feels. I understand what it's like to try to get a project approved, and then you don't. That's the reason I moved over to your department, is because I see that your boss approves additional resources when they feel there's a good business case. Be empathetic. Let them know you've heard them. But active listening means two things in particular to me. Is one is to listen, not listen to reply, but listen. Even paraphrase back what they said. Don't be patronizing around it, but just paraphrase it. Say, I hear what you're saying, but I can't understand what made you break our confidence. Help me understand that. Realize that there's a verbal eraser sometimes when we're chatting with people, and it's the word but. What that does is it erases everything you've said up to that point. So let me give you this example. I so understand what you're saying about that, but my work is really important. Instead, just put a full stop, period, and be able to say, I understand what you're saying about that. My work is important too. So you're not erasing, you're not degrading what it is you said with the but. So get that out of there. Through this, it could be that you receive feedback, you receive criticism. You need to acknowledge it, whether you're the boss or whether you're the coworker. You need to be able to say, I didn't realize I broke your confidence. I didn't realize you thought that all my stuff got approved. I didn't understand that you thought I didn't appreciate what work you're doing. Whatever it is, acknowledge it. Say, how can I make it right? What would have been a better solution for me? What words could I have used that wouldn't have made you feel that way so I don't do it again? You need to make sure that you understand their side. We always are part of the problem, whether we think we are or not. If something has happened to create conflict, we're part of the problem. I joined a Facebook group the other day and it said, read all the rules. And one of the rules is, what will you do if someone provides criticism or feedback to you that you don't like? And I said, I scroll past it. There can't be conflict if two people aren't participating. But in the workplace, if someone's quiet because of a conflict, you must resolve it. It's not a Facebook page. This is where we confuse social media and workplace. We must acknowledge the issue and acknowledge that we're part of it. Now, sometimes conversations don't get the length they should have, perhaps, or the solutions don't come up. So sometimes you just have to say, thanks for having the conversation with me. I really want to think about the feedback you gave me. I want to think about what I could have done better. Can we talk about it again if I have other questions around it? And then if you do, then go back to them and say, can we talk about this a bit more? I've got another question. I just want to talk about it because this is what's still concerning to me. That happens, and that's okay, because sometimes we need to process the information that's been given to us. Perhaps we had an assumption. We had an assumption that the boss would listen to both, but maybe we had an assumption that because we were the new kid on the block for that department, that we were going to get it approved. We had an assumption that ours was better than their project. We had an assumption that they would keep it confident, but they didn't. We didn't ask the question, do you have anything going before the boss for more resources? We let it happen. So sometimes we need to take a moment and look in the mirror and say, maybe I added to this. And if so, then we go back and we sit with them. It really helps strengthen the relationship. Don't get emotional, get empathetic, acknowledge criticism. You got to manage those emotions. Doesn't mean you don't have them, just define them. but don't let it linger. Don't let it linger. I know people say a lot of times for long marriages that don't go to bed angry and, just kind of end the day on a good note. Well, you need to maybe do that in your workplace. Not go to bed, but certainly to be able to make sure that you're not letting things linger so that you can make sure that the next conversation you have with them doesn't have any residue or baggage to it. We know that conflicts can arise at work, but what we do know is that unresolved tensions affect people, their performance, and their health, and so we need to resolve them. I hope that you're resolved to listen to what the heck is happening in HR. Every Monday, we drop new episodes, so be sure to subscribe on all your favorite platforms.